Sometimes doing the right thing is the hardest thing to do. You know, I have to say that it doesn't matter, what's going on in life and all this stuff. Setting boundaries and standing up for yourself isn't always easy to do, especially when it's with relationships or a familial collegiate, it just depends, there's different things, but for me specifically, I had to make certain changes for my own well-being, and it wasn't that, any physical danger or anything like this, but it's about it was for me setting boundaries, about, hey, this is not acceptable. That is not acceptable, disrespecting is not acceptable. Not, people joke, people play, and, things get said, in the heat of an argument and all this stuff, but, there is no perfect person out there. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are in life, everybody has their challenges, and I totally get that. But when somebody starts trying to take advantage of you or take you for granted, maybe, whether it is for, I don't know, money, sex, mistreat you, and all that stuff, sometimes, sometimes you gotta walk away. And it doesn't mean necessarily that it's permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. It depends, sometimes it's just about having time to heal and self-reflect and let the other person see, like, you're not going to tolerate that. And sometimes the other person will see that, and sometimes they don't. But if you see that, and you make the changes, and you grow from it and acquire your own self-esteem and self-respect and your own level of boundaries, like, hey, this is not acceptable. I'm not going to be used for this or for that. Then you come out on top regardless, and it's really not always about trying to make somebody else see what they did, because some people don't open their eyes or wake up to themselves while other people do. And, and again, I come back to, time tells and time heals. So, doing the necessary things for the right reasons are very often the hardest and the most painful, but are ultimately the most rewarding too. So it's perspective, for me, my history has always been about attended toward relationships that were in some way or another abusive. And when I say abusive, I don't necessarily mean physical abuse, I'm talking also about psychological games, disrespect. And, you know, I've done videos on gaslighting and things like this, so it's not always, about being hit or sexual abuse or this and that, just disrespecting somebody and not giving that public display of affection, holding your hand when other people are around, but when you're alone, you're the best thing. When other people are around, it's, oh yeah, look at her. No, that's not acceptable. It's not to me. It's not to me. And I'm not an insecure person. Like, when you're younger, we have a higher level of insecurity because we don't know who we are, what we want for ourselves, and all this stuff. For me, it's just like, I'm not here to pick apart this person because I hope to, I'd said, I'm open to coming back at some point, but it's not going to be yet because it's in my heart of hearts, I know that is premature, and there's just way entirely too much anger, and a lot has been said and done that you just need time. You just need time to really look inside and say, and time to see in the other person, like, are they making the changes or is it just talk? Because anybody can tell you what you want to hear. But, you go back behind those closed doors and you know what you're living with behind closed doors, and again, like I said, there is no quote-unquote perfect person or perfect scenario. You got to take the good with the bad, but when things become abusive or there's disrespect or these psychological games going on, my advice, I tell anybody, baby, get your stuff and go for a while. Take some time for you. And that, as painful and as difficult as that may be, it doesn't mean that it's irreconcilable later. It just means it's about letting the other person know, like, look, I'm really serious, that I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm a human being, whether I am an outwardly emotional person or not. I'm a human being. I have feelings, and I don't want that for the rest of my life. I don't want to be, disrespected or hear these or see this ugly dynamic. So, and I certainly don't want to be used for money. That's a boundary I had to set with a couple of people, friends. Like, please don't. If you're really my friend, I will help you in any way that I can, but I'm not going to allow you to lean on me for this, for money or whatever. You're old enough, and nobody is my responsibility. Nobody's my responsibility. I'm a mother and a grandmother, and my daughter is self-sufficient completely. And I did not remarry. I wanted to, and everything now for me, is just, it's on pause. Everything is paused, and it is about these boundaries because I don't ever want to go through another divorce. Ever. I'd rather not ever marry again than to ever go through another divorce. So, And that's where I'm at with it. It's like, if I'm going to marry, if I marry again, I want it to be for the rest of my life. And, yes, I want to take the good with the bad, but within normalcy, not outside of normalcy with disrespect. And, there's just certain things, that, I'm not going to necessarily publicize, obviously. That is personal. But I have been, being in my own space right now has been, it was very necessary. I'm not going to say that it has been painless, because obviously, it was hard for me to do what I needed to do, but I thought, I knew, well, you stay in toxicity. Toxicity breeds toxicity, and eventually you grow to hate each other. There's a fine line between love and hate, and that's something I hope I evaded. Yes, there was a lot of pain, and I know, at the end of the day, he didn't want me to separate, but I hope at the end of the day that my doing what I did will have salvaged. And if it didn't, then so be it, then it was not meant to be. My level of acceptance it just runs like that, and that's where I'm at. My love is still there for this man, of course. Of course I miss this man, but I haven't been able to figure out what happened that made such a good relationship, or, the better times, the things, what made it go into toxicity in the first place, because I'm not a violent person or any of this stuff, I'm not perfect. I have my issues, but I'm not abusive. And, some of the stuff I said and done was to give a taste of own medicine. Like, how does that feel? It hurts, doesn't it? But now I'm at the place where it's like, no more of that. Enough. And, you only do that to make your point, maybe, if it merits that, perhaps, but I'm kind of a believer that two wrongs don't make a right. But I was just so angry and hurt myself that, I succumbed to my own feelings and I reacted to them. So that's what I mean by, it's like, hey, I'm just as human as the next person. And again, time will tell. Time will tell. Anybody else out there going through this, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down if you think this stinks. I don't know, whatever. If you've been through it and give me a thumbs up, because I don't have a comments box for a reason. At some point I may enable that, but right now, no. But thank you. Be safe, be strong, and just trust and believe in yourself and believe in the process, and always know that time heals. And it does. It takes time sometimes to overcome and get to the place that you want to be with that person, or mainly within yourself first, but the rest falls into place.